Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another Friday chat about yoga, wellness, life. Every week on Fridays at 12:30, I do this little chatty mekawade. So feel free to join in live, or you can catch the recording afterwards right here on this channel or on our YouTube channel, Kara Yoga. Okay? Hello, hello, darling. So today we're going to talk about the Yamas and the Niyamas. Maybe you know what they are. Maybe you don't. So that's why we're going to have this chat today. And chime in if you have any questions or thoughts or anything at all that you're thinking of. Hi. So the Yamas are... Hi. They complement each other. The Yamas and the Niyamas complement each other. And they represent a series of right living. So it's pretty cool, actually. Right living or ethical values within yoga philosophy. So it means, the Yamas mean reining in or control. These are restraints for proper conduct. Wouldn't it be great if we all got these when we were like young? You know what I mean? Like, here's your list of proper conduct to have. And we're going to go over all exactly what I'm talking about in just a minute. But I just wanted to kind of cover what exactly they are, the Yamas and then the Niyamas separately. And then we're going to go over the list of each of those things. There's 5 of each. There's 5 Yamas and there's 5 Niyamas. Okay, so the Yamas are restraints for proper conduct. They're a form of moral imperatives, commandments, rules or goals. They're the don't do these list. So of self-restraints. You'll see in a second what I'm talking about. Typically representing commitments that affect one's relations with others and self. The complementary Niyamas represent the do these list. So the Yamas are don't do these, and the Niyamas are do these. List of observances, and together the Yamas and the Niyamas are personal obligations to live well. So we're going to go over the list of each of those things, and we're going to talk about what we feel like each of us do on those lists and what perhaps we'd like to do a little bit more of, and maybe there's some that just don't make sense to us in our lives, and that's okay too. The Niyamas are positive duties or observances. They complement the Yamas, like we said, and they're recommended activities and habits. Activities and habits, which is a very interesting thing to focus on, the habit part of it, for healthy living, spiritual enlightenment, and a liberated state of existence. It has multiple meanings depending on the context where you're in Hinduism. In Buddhism, the term extends to the determinations of nature, as in the Buddhist niyama dhammas. That's a whole separate thing. Okay, so we're just going to go over the list of Yamas, the don't do these list, and the list of Niyamas, the do these list. Okay, so the Yamas, the don't do: non-violence. So that should really say violence. Don't do violence. Non-violence, truth, non-stealing, energy management or moderation, and non-possessiveness. Let's go over each one of those. Yamas. Ahimsa is the Sanskrit term for non-violence. So you might say in ahimsa, my thoughts and actions are focused on loving awareness. This might be a form of a meditation for you, right? For any of us who want to work on this. Maybe this is something that we say to ourselves daily. My thoughts and actions are focused on loving awareness. I nurture and cherish myself and others. I am aware that the mind sometimes entertains thoughts of fear, anger, or selfishness, but I do not get caught in these thoughts or act upon them. I accept without judgment any uncomfortable mental states. I release them and return to gentle, non-violent expression of my energy. It's helpful. I think it's helpful. So in the yoga world, we talk a lot about the real masters of nonviolence in history, and Martin Luther King Jr. comes up a lot, Gandhi comes up a lot, and so does Mother Teresa. Those are the people that really kind of stand out in the world as far as ahimsa, nonviolence goes, especially when they were standing up for others in their plight to stand up for others and make a point about something that they felt was important. They did it in a non-violent way, which is pretty powerful, really, because it spoke very loudly what they were trying to say. Number 2 is satya, which is truth. So if you're practicing how to be more truthful, you might use this meditation. I live in truth. I speak the truth to myself and to others when appropriate. When offering my truth in form of feedback, I am sensitive to the feelings of others. I speak in the spirit of love. I also take responsibility for my actions. I do not blame anyone for my experience. I honestly see my own part in every situation. Now, all of these are things we can all work on, don't you think? As I'm reading this, I'm saying about myself in my own head, interesting, Kara. These are things you could work on too. Number 3 is asteya, which is non-stealing. So asteya is the Sanskrit word for non-stealing. I live in gratitude for all I have. I should have said yes for that, nodded yes. I take and use only what is rightfully mine. I respect the possessions, time, and talents of others. Sasha! I release my desires to own objects or talents I do not have. I appreciate my life as it is. Pretty cool. Number 4, Brahmacharya. This is the Sanskrit word for energy management, moderation of energy. So if you wanted to meditate on this, if you wanted to help yourself with managing your energy a little bit more, you might use these words. I am moderate in my lifestyle. I use my energy in ways that lead me closer to God or my higher power. I treat myself and others with respect, recognizing the inherent divinity in all people. When my energy becomes scattered, I come home to my source and to the primary relationship with myself. I have great respect for energy. Do you? Do you have great respect for energy? Do you take care of your energy? Do you know when your energy is going to be depleted? And therefore you prepare for that ahead of time? Or do you allow your energy to become depleted and then you're a mess? I mean, we're all human, right? Okay. Number 5. Now, if you're chiming in late, there's 5 yamas, there's 5 niyamas. These are suggested ways on how to live a good life, according to the yoga world. We're on number 5 of the yamas, the don't do's. The niyamas are the do's. Do these. The niyamas are things that we should be watchful of not doing so much of. But this list is speaking of them in a way that we want to do. For example, aparigraha is the last one of the yamas, which is non-possessiveness. So when I'm saying we don't want to do these, we don't want to be possessive, okay? We don't want to mismanage our energy. We don't want to be untruthful. We don't want to be violent. Those are the other ones. So this is the last one, aparigraha. This is the last yama. Non-possessiveness. I release attachment to other people, to substances, to dreaming, to achieving success in my actions. I honor myself as I cultivate simplicity. I recognize the difference between a want and a need. I create inner fulfillment. So that can sound a little bit confusing because we live in a world where we're taught to achieve. Do. You're only worth something if you achieve something, right? This is the world that we live in. So this is telling you that you actually don't need those things to be important, to have self-worth. You don't need to be an achiever. You don't need to be so goal-oriented. It's good to have goals in life. I'm not saying that it's not, but that's the world that we live in versus the meditative world where you might actually be achieving a lot more if you stop trying to achieve so much, if that makes sense. It's that less is more mentality where we can be happy with what we have, right? That's what this is teaching us. It's teaching us to be happy with the here and now and with what we have now in this moment and with what's really important in this life, which is the basics, right? The basics. And love, right? And honoring what's really important in life. Moving on to the niyamas. So this is the list of observations in life. This is the list of the do's. Do these list, okay? And Sasha, I think it's very interesting that you're here because your name sounds similar to one of the yamas, which is Satya, meaning truth. And now we're going to talk about one of the niyamas, which sounds like Sasha, and it's Saucha, and it means purity. So if you're working on purity, you might think about these words. I cultivate purity in my body by practicing yoga, pranayama, which is breathing techniques, meditation, conscious eating, and by choosing a diet that is wholesome and pure. My inner and surrounding environment is clean. I focus my mind on inspirational thoughts and readings, purifying my mind by chanting mantra. So what this is saying, this purity, saucha, what am I presenting to the world? But this is how I'm seeing this too. We are also our own world. So what are we presenting to our own inner world, right? When I look at purity and clean eating and clean thinking even, right? All these a purity in our lives is only going to help reflect what our inner world is also experiencing, if that makes sense, right? So, and it's also along the lines of The Secret. If you've never seen The Secret or read the book The Secret, right? It's what we're attracting in the world, right? So if we work on that purity, that cleanliness, the world around us being less cluttered, for example, what are we hopefully then attracting towards us, right? It's sort of like a mirror in our lives that we're creating, which is pretty cool to think about, I think. That's number 1 for niyamas. Number 2, and there's 5. Number 2 is santosha, which is contentment. So if you're working on contentment, you might think of these words. I am content. I am grateful for what I have and for what I do not have. I learn from the joys and disappointments life brings me. I honor the good in myself and others. I refrain from criticism and fault finding. I accept life just the way it is. I enjoy my life. Right? Contentment. Santosha. Number 3, tapas, which is discipline. It also is the name of a food. But we're going to work on the discipline portion of the word. So tapas. And this is a big one because I think this is very common for a lot of people. It's what a lot of us are lacking in order for us to achieve that next thing that we are hoping to achieve, which may be that inner peace that we're really all looking for, right? And it's along the lines of all of these things, these yamas and the niyamas. They all work together. They tie in together. They affect each other. So this is what we're going to say about discipline, if it's something that you want to work on a little bit more. I cultivate discipline. I have a realistic, balanced schedule for my practice. My practice of wellness, so if it's yoga for you, breathing, meditation, right? For your seva is a selfless giving, right? So maybe you volunteer at places, right? But we have a balance of these things. So we're balancing that with our own personal care and our personal needs as well. I am disciplined and also relaxed, right? So we're not disciplined in a way that it's a little over the top. You know what I mean? Like, I can't do this and I can't go here unless I do this, and this, right? I'm relaxed, right? I have a discipline. I have a map that I might follow in my day that helps me to achieve my best self, right? But I'm not crazy about it. It's not driving me insane, right? I'm not going to die if I don't do it exactly the way that I've mapped it out, or if I skipped this portion of the map today, right? It's not going to kill me, all right? So we're relaxed. I do not drain my energy by over effort and overwork. My purpose is clear. My mind is decisive, which goes hand in hand, right? If you have a clear purpose, then it's easier to be decisive with your mind because your mind is clear and it knows what it wants. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so number 4, swadhyaya. I just like this one because of the word. I think it's really fun. Swadhyaya, which is also self-observation and self-study, which the majority of our population could really do better at. And I think if the majority of our population did this more, it would really help our population as a whole. Right? You know what I'm saying? Are you with me on that one? I practice conscious awareness in my personal care and throughout the day. I listen to inspirational teachings and I study inspirational teachings and readings. I continually study the words of great teachers and maybe saints if you have saints in your life that you like to follow, or different people from history that have displayed these behaviors, like we were talking about earlier, Martin Luther King Jr., Mother Teresa, Gandhi, right? These people. I expand my self-knowledge and reflect upon my life with acceptance. You know, a lot of unhappiness comes from not being able to accept what's going on in our lives. So this is a really great one. And the last one on the Niyama side, the observations, the do these side, is Ishvara Pranidhana, which is surrender to God. That's the Sanskrit translation to English. So if you're working on this, you might repeat these words. A mantra. Not my will, Lord, but thine. Now, you know, some people don't believe in a God, right? So maybe there's a higher power that you believe in. Maybe you can at least get on board with the fact that, not the fact, but maybe get on board with the thinking that there has to be something greater than us, right? How can we be it? Because we came from somewhere, right? And this whole world is like this amazing place. And how could that have come from nothing? You know, yes, there's science and all that. This is a whole nother discussion. But just having that awareness and that thinking that we're not the be all and end all, right? That there's people before us, there's going to be people after us, right? We're just here now. And for a lot of people, it's very helpful to feel like there's a greater entity, not only that has created all of this in some way, but also to help us not feel alone, you know? And maybe that greater entity for you is your community or your family, right? Something that's bigger than you. So if you're working on that, not my will, but thine, right? So maybe it's a collective energy, right, that you're thinking about. I surrender my ego, my false pride. I trust that I'm not in charge. I release the need for being the doer, no matter whether I fail or succeed in what I do. I offer the fruits of all of that, of all of my actions, to that higher entity, right? Or that collective vibration, that higher vibration that's happening. And trusting that you're in the hands of something greater and you're going to be okay. You're going to be taken care of. Everything's going to be okay. So that's what that niyama is. And there's a beautiful chant that goes along with that, and you can look this up and hear some beautiful, amazing voices singing this, but I'm going to give you a little rendition. It's Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And when you listen to it being chanted, it sounds like this. Om Namo Bhagavate that means I surrender. I surrender to that greater entity. Not my will, but thine. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So that's what the chant is. And you can Google it. I'm going to put it in the description below, and look up some really beautiful singers who's singing that. I mean, just the whole vibration of it. And that's all it is. It's repeated over and over again. And once you learn it, you can sing it and you can chant it, and it will help you to achieve that sensation, that feeling, those vibrations, to help fill you, right? Fill your whole being with those feelings that you're not in charge, and you don't have to be in charge. You don't have to be. Thank you, honey. Okay, so we'll see how long these chats go on for. Fridays at 12:30, and if you didn't catch the whole thing, you can go back and replay it, and catch it on the YouTube channel, Kara Yoga. Any questions, let me know. And you can look these up, the Yamas and the Niyamas. You can Wikipedia it and see the whole list that we just went over. And maybe there's a specific one or two that you want to work on at a time. Maybe there's one a day you want to work on, or just think about, you know. Maybe write it on the mirror in your bathroom, so that you, when you go in there, you see it. It doesn't have to be the bathroom. If you have a mirror in your house somewhere. On your fridge, you know, you can put it on your fridge. Anywhere that you visit frequently, that you can be reminded of these yamas and niyamas, on what don't to do, what to not do, and what to do in life, to help us out a little bit. We all need a little help, you know what I'm saying? Life is not, there's no booklet, so we're all just doing the best that we can. And I'm glad that you're here, and join me next time. Any topics you want to listen to or cover, let me know, and I'll see you soon.